Glad to have you join us on this edition of the show. The current pandemic has made working from home a part of the work culture today, and it's likely going to remain that way far into the future. Today, I chat with a founder who made the decision to move her team virtual about 2 years ago. She has quite a lot to say about her team's experience working remotely. There's indeed a lot lined up for you, but first, some tech news and updates. This is Tech Trend, and I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.
Broadband access is the great equalizer, leveling the playing field so that every willing and able person, no matter their station in life, has access to the information and tools necessary to achieve the American dream. The sight of men digging up the ground and laying fiber optic cables on major roads and some streets in various parts of Lagos State recently raised questions in the minds of many as to what is going on. Though such is not a new development around the city, this time it is with the direct involvement of the state government, whose aim is to unify the state's fiber infrastructure into a single cable duct.
We've also started deploying our first phase of the 3,000-kilometer metropolitan fiber optics. You will see in Lagos 5 colors of cables that are being dotted all around. We're doing it in collaboration with the private sector, and so this is our concession. So there's going to be a total of 6,000 kilometers. So the phase 1 of it is 3,000. That's why you see the yellow cable, the red cable, the blue cable. About 5 of them are going inside, or 6 of them rather, are going into all of the ducts, simultaneously. What that does is that all the telcos and all the TTOs can have fiber capability, and once the fiber is there, your internet will be stronger, your communication will be stronger.
According to the Lagos State government, a dig once policy is now being implemented to prevent the continuous destructions of roads, water pipes and other social infrastructure.
There is this unified pricing that everybody would have to pay to use that, to rent that duct, and it even stops them spending so much money in digging, because the government would have provided that duct for them. All they need to do is just to rent and pay, a yearly rent charge for using those, for blowing their fiber optic cable through the ducts. All they need to do is they make application to the concessionaire, who will not verify the length of the length they applied for, and they just pay one single payment of rental, which of course every year they will be renewing that rental fee.
The Lagos State House of Assembly on May the 14th approved the unification of fiber infrastructure for telecom companies in the city, paving the way for the project. But what does this really mean for telecommunication operators, internet service providers and consumers?
Lagos State is going to have equal opportunities as far as fiber infrastructure is concerned. The operators, as they are, will only put fiber infrastructure where they get the most economic return from it. So you see Lekki, Koivi, I have Sulere, some parts of Ikeja having fiber infrastructure. Alagbado, Amj, Ajegunle, they don't have fiber infrastructure, right? So with the Lagos State government investing in this infrastructure, what it means is there's an equal opportunity to serve those who call underserved.
Everything is included in the contract. For you to apply for any right of way, the first thing LASIMRA would do is to check whether it's within, the approved right of way for the concessionaire. And once it's within that right of way, then we will refer you to the concessionaire, because the government already, the Lagos State government has already granted the concessionaire that right of way. So you won't pay to the government like they used to do. If you look at the whole life costing of the operation, they spend so much money having to provide that infrastructure. You know, they will spend hundreds of millions of naira to dig, to lay ducts before they now put fiber, and they put the charge on the consumer. But now what is out of that operation is provision of that duct, you know. So by the time you look at it, when it becomes operational, when people started renting, you will find out that I don't see how it will work that they will have to charge the customer. And it's going to be competitive this time. It's very, very competitive because they are paying the same fees. They are, you know, blowing fiber optics cable in the same duct, but I don't see them charging the consumers excessively as a result of this project, this unified project.
In 2013, the National Economic Council agreed to uniform right-of-way ROW charge of 145 naira per linear meter of fiber. But some state governments disregarded the resolution and increased their charges by over 1,200%, making it difficult for telecom companies to achieve the much-desired broadband access.
If we take right-of-way away, I do a one-off payment for the duct and I pay for that service, or maybe even an annual fee that is low for the duct. That makes sense.
With the new unified fiber infrastructure in Lagos, this could mean two things: an increase in the cost of broadband for consumers or a reduction in the right-of-way fees.
We don't even know what's happening. We don't know what the cost and the prices are. But it would have been best if we're saying this is going to replace the right-of-way. We're going to stick to the Nigerian government's 145 naira per linear meter, and you don't have to spend money digging. You don't have to spend money bringing in your own ducts. The ducts are here. That saves us a huge amount of money.
According to the Nigerian Communications Commission, metro fiber networks currently account for less than 25% of the total fiber distances in the country. Access of fiber networks within 5 kilometers is equivalent to reaching approximately 39% of the population, with Lagos State having the highest of 85% and Jigawa the lowest with 12%. In the Nigerian National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025, harmonizing the processes for issuance of ROW permits, which includes agreeing on building of ducts for lease to operators at standard rates, is one of the focus areas that will help the achievement of broadband penetration targets. While this approval by the Lagos State government is considered a step in the right direction, it remains to be seen how much consumers will benefit from it in terms of connectivity and cost. Henry Okolo has grown accustomed to using his phone to stay in touch with God during the coronavirus pandemic. Every Sunday, he uses an app to listen to a virtual service in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. Following the closure of churches in March, Okolo, a father of two, has used it to help his family pray at home. The O Sanctus app, created last year by Nigerian tech firm Applause Dome Limited, allows Catholics to attend virtual services, reserve time with priests, and make financial offerings.
It was a welcome development because it made so many things easy for us. Cut the gaps of trying to access the office sometimes. So you can do all of those from the convenience of your house.
It is part of a broader trend across Africa which has seen people worshipping remotely, often by watching sermons online following the widespread closure of churches. According to the Center for the Study of Global Christianity, the closures have played a crucial role in the battle to stop the novel coronavirus taking hold across Africa, which has the highest number of Christians of any continent. Paul Akin Otiko is the chaplain at Okolo's Catholic chaplaincy. The local priest has been using the app for over a year. Since the global pandemic, he says the app has been effectively utilized as it tailored to the needs of the church. Parishioners are able to book appointments with him and make offertory, which has dwindled since the insurgence of the coronavirus. Every day, he goes on the app checking for scheduled activities, which he says has helped with organization in the chaplaincy.
It's a lot easier for people to schedule their time, what mass they want to attend, what time they want to visit, because the offices are not as busy as, and of course we're not in full business, as they say. The office doesn't open all the time. So we open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So with the app, you're able to say, okay, Father, I'm coming in to see you on Monday at so time. So I think we're getting more organized.
All Sanctus, originally launched as a church management tool for one parish, covers 4 digitized parishes and has garnered more than 3,000 subscribers. Mercedes Oktakwamweni, who runs Applause Dome Limited, said the app was set up with the simple aim of digitizing parts of church activities without realizing that the highly infectious virus would force people to worship from home.
What the pandemic has done is for people to appreciate that these things can be done. I also don't see why I should get to the priest's office and sit for 2 hours. I'm a busy person. I don't want to get there and there are a whole lot of people and then I'm waiting. I want to know that this is my time. I can come in, see the priest, and then continue with what I'm doing. Okay? So it's not an app for the pandemic. It's an app for efficiency.
In a push to ease restrictions, authorities in Lagos said places of worship can reopen, but the need for digital worship is not over. Churches can only open for services once a week and at no more than 50% capacity. Be aware, Singaporeans standing too close to one another, an automated drone might be keeping an eye on you from above. Singapore's police have been testing 2 pilotless drones developed by Israel's Aerobotics to help enforce social distancing measures aimed at containing the spread of COVID-19. The small machines weigh 10 kg and are programmed to track anomalies such as gatherings and stream footage to the police. The 3.5-month trial over an industrial estate in the west of the city is the first time automated commercial drones have been approved to fly over a major metropolis, according to Aerobotics.
It's the first drone that's completely automated, so that means it can fly with no operator. The idea is to use it for multiple applications, including mapping, surveillance, security, and others.
The company says the drone can pinpoint locations and zoom into areas that might not be visible to police officers on foot or in vehicles.
It's very helpful to have a tool that's there when you need it on demand within a couple of seconds, and that provides the 3-dimensional aspect or view of what you're looking at. So I think it helps them a lot, not only with emergency response applications, but also with normal operations. So if a police officer needs to get somewhere and you can send the drone instead, obviously that's very helpful to them.
Singapore's government Home Team Science and Technology Agency said it had trialed the drones with the police. Aerobotics, which has raised $120 million in funding, said it had invested some $100 million to develop the drones. It was leasing them to HTX and also for business and industrial use in Israel and in the United States. Aerobotics said the social distancing aspect of the trial is still ongoing. Singapore, known for its strict laws and widespread surveillance, initially won global praise for containing virus spread before mass outbreaks in cramped migrant worker dormitories saw its caseload climb sharply. The CEO of Aerobotics says it is in talks with other cities to deploy the drones.
Next is my chat with Tamsin Lovell Miller, founder at Fundi. Stay with us. Tamsin, thank you for being on the show today.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Awesome. Do you think the world was ready for COVID, as it were?
Certainly not. We in some industries more than others, but it certainly took everybody by surprise. The industry that I'm in, on the one hand, the one part of the industry I'm in, which is technology, obviously we're ready. We were already working, so it was easy for us. It hasn't been much of an adjustment for us, but for all of our customers, huge adjustment. So that our customers are in the art world, they're art businesses. They're used to people coming to the door, coming through their doors, coming to see exhibitions, going to an art fair. It was a huge shock, a huge adjustment for all of my customers, which has obviously been had a huge impact on us. But in terms of the way that we've been working right from the beginning, which is 2.5 years now, we set out we could have had a choice to go and get office space in Cape Town and all get in the traffic every day and go to work. And I made the decision not to do that, but that we would all work remotely. So we were already, luckily, set up that way. So we all had our home offices, and you can see this is my regular office, but and it is my house. It's part of my house.
Okay, so let me ask you, why did you decide to move your team to a work from home kind of setting? What led to that decision?
There were a few reasons. Firstly, I didn't want to constrain my business to a geographic pool of talent. So I wanted the tech that we're developing is a global tech, so we can sell it anywhere. And that will mean as we grow that we will need to have people in different geographies, speaking different languages. So the team will anyway expand to where it can't be all coming to the office. So geographic talent was one thing. If you work from home, you can hire resources that are the best. You're not hiring resources that can get in the car and come to your office. You're hiring resources that can do the job, and they may live somewhere else and they can just deliver. And the type of work that we do, I wanted that level of talent to be accessible to the business.
Well, interesting. And so, I honestly think there would have been a lot of benefits, but explain to us, what are the benefits you've seen by this singular move in your business?
There's a benefit in terms of lifestyle to an extent. So instead of, in theory, it hasn't worked out during COVID so much because we've all been working extra hours, but in theory, if you're not spending an hour in the morning in the traffic getting to work and an hour in the afternoon in the traffic getting home from work, you can spend that time doing something else. You can exercise, you can see your friends or spend more time with your family or walk the dog or whatever it is that fulfills you. So it's about life balance. And I think, I even debated for a while doing a 4-day week. It's still a debate in my head. We're too busy right now.
I mean, this is something you've done for two years plus now. What are some of the challenges you've experienced trying to, enhance this work from home culture?
One of the challenges was a cultural and time zone challenge. So at one stage, I had a team in India, and we were battling with. I battled to even understand their accents because they were so strong. So that was a proper challenge. We started getting it right in the end of the day, but I think I've dialed it back a bit, and I'm back to people in the country, in my country for now. I will expand it again. I kind of reacted. So I think the challenge is you've still got to have a good culture fit. You've still got to have a good ability to understand each other. And so even if you're working from home, even if you're nearby, and maybe you're in the same country or in the same time zone, would help. So there are those challenges, and they can be overcome. To be overcome, you need good team culture. You need somebody who's really working. You need close-knit teams working very closely together. So for a small startup, maybe it's better to be a little closer together. What we have found is very important is you still need the FaceTime.
Interesting. So you are in the art industry. I know that the art industry would also face some of the challenges that will come post-COVID. What are the ways that your industry is trying to cope leveraging technology?
It's a huge, it's been a huge shake-up in the art industry, and the art world was not prepared and much further behind in terms of its adoption of digital transformation than other businesses. So because it's an industry that relies very much on relationships, and it's difficult. So they're suddenly going, this is a relationship industry. We need to meet people face-to-face at art exhibitions or at art fairs. How do you translate that into a digital format? And so that was hugely difficult. And they're having to learn how to introduce digital software and kind of event platforms and all sorts of ways to deliver things, but then also try and still keep up the trust factor and the relationships. And initially people were really scared and nervous and doubted whether it's ever going to work at all. Is the whole art world just going to come to a stop for however many months and then go back? And some things have worked well and some things have worked less well, but people are still buying art and they're adapting really fast. It's been interesting to see, and I'm seeing a great level of two things. On one side, kind of digital fatigue. People are tired of, they want to meet and champagne glasses and hug each other. And they want to see brush strokes on paintings up close. So there's that. And I think people are dying to go back. So I can't wait until the first art fairs start reopening their doors and people can go again. I think there'll be a renewed pleasure, a kind of visceral pleasure at just being there. So that's on the one hand, but on the other, people have been surprised that business has continued. People have continued buying art. These Zoom meetings are working to introduce, to utilize kind of expertise. And they have, in some ways, invited you in to the behind the scenes in a way that we have never been before. So studios that have been opened up or discussions with amazing experts that you wouldn't have access to. You just wouldn't get into a room with that person normally, perhaps. And here they are, and you can access them and you can sit with them in a Zoom meeting. So people have been surprised that that's actually working. People are engaging with that content, and so I think going forward, the world will go back eventually when there's a vaccine or when things calm down, and everyone will rush back to the way it was before, but they will not abandon the new things that they've learned and they've found valuable. They will find a way of merging the two together.
That was Tamsin Lovell Miller, founder at Fundi. As you have heard from her, working remotely is possible and organizations should be open to this new reality. On the other hand, though, it is going to be difficult to operate remotely without basic infrastructure like power, good broadband facility. This is why, as a country, we have to step up our game in order to catch up with the rest of the world. We've come to the end of the show, but it doesn't end here. The conversation continues online. We are Tech Trends TV on social media. Also watch the entire show on Channels TV YouTube page or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.